Hi, my name is Isabel. Today I want to tell you about my booty. Only not about how it became bigger, but on the contrary, how it became smaller. And just so you understand, I come from Brazil. My mom is a former model who is famous for her perfect shape and made money on it. She realized that I was her direct continuation in the field of beauty and money in the future. Do you want to know what happened to me and how my mother reacted to it? Then watch the story, give me some likes, and comment on the video. I was born at the height of my mother's fame. As I told you, she modeled for many years, then had me, then opened her own modeling agency. As I grew older, my mother's figure changed. The haters were waiting for her to get fat, or her skin to wrinkle, or her breasts to sag. But it turned out to be just the opposite. She was the envy of everyone. They even wrote about it in the media. My mother has never had to have plastic surgery. She just didn't need it. Everyone said my father was lucky to have such a beautiful woman in his life. When I turned 4 years old, my mother insured her booty for $2 million. That is, in case she lost her former butt beauty, she would at least get a pretty penny for it. My dad thought it was a hell of an offer because age would take its toll someday. But time worked differently on my mom's body. And then I was growing up. When I turned 11, everyone admired my mother's genes. My figure even then was similar to my mother's. My breasts were starting to grow, a thin waist was forming, but the roundest part of my body was my booty. Isabel, I signed you up for gymnastics. You could use a little exercise. Okay, Mom. Are you getting me ready for something? For a life, honey. For a life. Since then, I've been working out and going to practice regularly. Every year, I grew bigger and more beautiful. We were admired by passers-by. Everyone took autographs and photos. As I was in the center of attention since my childhood, I took it for granted and was not surprised. Then I was 16, the age when you're an adult, but still a child. We responded to this date with a big celebration. My mother ordered a dress for me from Milan by top designers. It perfectly emphasized my shape. I wore all white, walked out to the guests like the first lady. Everyone took pictures of me, admired me, and smiled. I knew that I have a lot of envious people around me, but I tried to only think about the good. My mother gave me a gift, telling me that she had also insured my ass for $4 million. Mom, are you sure you want to do this? You have my genes. How can I not be sure? What if something happens? What could happen? We're careful about diet, activity, and exercise. I think you'll be 100 times prettier than me, and still conquer the world modeling business. You'll do what I once only dreamed of. Thanks, Mom. My party went great. After the weekend, I went back to school, and every day became as normal as ever. The girls and I went out after class, and an unfamiliar woman came up to me. She looked strange, wearing a scarf and a long skirt. She was holding a picture of me, with crosses drawn all over it. It looked creepy. With red eyes, she came up to me, showed me a picture of a girl I didn't know, and told me that her daughter had ruined her life because of me. She was too much of a fan of you, your figure, your life, and on your birthday, she just couldn't take it. I found her lying on her bed. She was barely breathing, and it was all because of you, she yelled. My friends tried to calm the woman down, to take me away, but I saw her tears, felt her pain, and felt sick. And when I turned away, she burned my picture and cursed right back at me in incomprehensible language. My friends calmed me down, like, don't pay attention. There are a lot of haters. They were right. There are a lot of haters. But this woman was not just jealous. She despised my existence. But what could I do? After all, it was my life. I was born this way, and this is how I live. Anyway, I went home, and I wanted to tell my mother about everything, but strangers were sitting in the living room. It turned out to be the selection committee. I was ready to be considered for the Victoria's Secret Angels. Man, this was the dream of my life, and my mom was rooting for me to do it. They looked me over, assessed my figure, and I walked the runway, and they were thrilled. My mom was so proud of me at that moment. It was awesome. I was scheduled for a second interview in 2 weeks in California, and we started actively preparing for the trip. I carefully watched my diet to make sure I didn't gain too much or lose too much weight. My mom took me shopping almost every day for new clothes to make me look like a superstar. She even took me out of school for a week so I could get proper sleep, not be nervous, and work on my gait and posture. However, after 3 days, I felt a strange aching pain in my buttocks, but I didn't pay attention to it. However, the pain worsened when I was at the spa. I thought it was because of the peel, but after 1.5 weeks, I could almost not sit properly. I didn't tell my mom about it so she wouldn't make a fuss, because she was looking forward to my trip more than I was. And when I had about 3 days left, I decided to go to the pool for a swim, put on my swimsuit, and realized with horror that it was too big for me. My panties were all in as if I'd stolen them from my mom. I tried on another swimsuit and it also fell off. I put on jeans and the same thing happened. I began to panic. I measured the volume and realized that my butt had decreased by 3 centimeters. How could this happen? I did not lose weight. Then my mother came into the room, and I quickly threw on a robe. Well, my daughter, are you ready to hit all? I believe in you, your strength, so don't let me down, okay? I was so scared to hear her say that, so I couldn't tell her the truth. I thought it would pass. Maybe I was just imagining things. I smiled, my mom kissed me, and she went to continue packing. I immediately started examining my butt, and I noticed that it had really shrunk. There were only a couple of days left, so I exercised, pumped it, ate more fatty foods, but nothing helped. There was too little time. In the end, we flew to California. All my thoughts were focused on my butt. My mom thought I was just worried or nervous. Almost immediately as we climbed off the flight, we were brought to a hotel, accommodated, given time to unpack, and taken to a casting. There were so many girls there, all wanting to participate and compete for the title of an angel. I wore a dress that didn't show my butt. We were sent to change into tights and tops, and I decided to cheat. I had no other choice. When I went out on the catwalk, the judges chatted for a long time, but finally decided to leave me alone for now. They didn't forget to acknowledge my gorgeous shape. My mother clapped her hands, and I barely smiled. We changed several times each, and then we were told to go out in our swimsuits. I knew I couldn't go out like this now, or I'd be exposed, so I pretended my stomach was cramping up. My mom got worried and said she was going to bring me to my senses. But when I came out of the fitting room, one of the girls pulled out my butt patch and said loudly, "Oops, you lost your butt." Everyone laughed. The judges were shocked. My mom was also surprised, shocked, and at a loss. So was I. The committee started whispering. My mother asked me what it was, why it happened, and why I didn't tell her anything. I cried, said that at first I forgot, and then this happened. We had 2 weeks. Couldn't you have told me sooner, so we don't embarrass ourselves here now? No, I couldn't. I couldn't, Mom, because you waited and made sure it was all mine. You insured my booty and didn't even think about my plans. What if I didn't want to be a model? What if I wanted to take up swimming? What if this isn't the job for me? What if you're not living my dream, but yours? Didn't you ever think about that? You've been deciding my fate since the moment I was born, but you've never once asked me what I really wanted. My mother was very surprised by my statement, and I was relieved for the first time. I'd said everything I'd wanted to say for so long. And yes, that woman on the street, she made me feel ashamed, if only because the life her daughter envied so much was one I did not like. That is, her daughter broke her life for one that I wasn't happy about living. I always had the impression that none of this was really mine, but I was afraid to tell my mother about it. The commission heard our conversation too. They advised us to fly home first and work things out. I didn't talk to my mom for 2 days. I thought that was it. She was going to turn me into an orphanage or something. But she came to me with an apology, saying that she had blinded herself too much with her plans for me, and that she forgot to ask if I wanted it at all. It's been over 2 months since then, and I've taken up swimming, just like I wanted to. My modeling career eventually waned. By the way, you may ask why my butt shrunk. I realized it later, because I secretly went swimming and pumped other muscles. My thighs and shoulders, and my butt shrank because of it. But I don't regret it, especially since I've already got my money from the insurance company. Tell me guys, did you like my story? Write your opinion about it in the comments below the video. Don't forget to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel.